Hey, what's going on? I want to talk to you about the main difference between really great chess players and average chess players. And this applies not only to chess, but to sports, to any craft that you might have. But it's a big misconception that in chess, the best chess players are the ones who are able to calculate, 10, 20, 30 moves ahead at a time. And while that is half true, that's not always the case. You can have two players with the same amount of calculation ability, able to see like maybe 12, 13 moves ahead, for example. But what separates them and what separates the good players from the average players are the ones who already understand patterns and are able to recognize patterns much faster than another person. The most basic example is going to a math test, and you may be good at math, like have raw intuition and like could able to use your ability to calculate the math problem and solve the test. But what's much easier is like before the test you already know the equations you're going to use, you know the context you're going to use them in, you're going to practice those equations, and then you're going to practice solving practice problems. And when you're at the test, nothing's brand new. Like arguably you can solve it, and arguably you can use your abilities and common sense to get a good answer. But what's much easier and what separates a really great mathematicians from average mathematicians is that they don't have to use their brain power on the test because they already solved it beforehand. They've already known it. They've already seen it, and it's much easier. So same with sports and same with chess. The best chess players are the ones who are able to recognize these patterns very fast. And the reason I bring this up is because I'm addicted to this game called Puzzle Rush, where you try to solve as many puzzles as you can within 5 minutes. Three strikes and you're out. And my friend was watching me, who doesn't play chess, who doesn't know much about chess, but I've been solving like a lot of the problems within a second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. And she's like, "What? Like, how are you solving? Like, I don't even know if I'm white or if I'm black or where my pieces are or what piece is what. Like, how do you know what the right move is so fast?" And I told her that I'm not like a amazing chess player, prodigy, whatever it is. Like, I'm not even a chess expert technically. Um, but I've seen many of these patterns so often that they become second nature. It's very intuitive to play these moves and to know it. And all of these moves and patterns have names. So what I want to do is I want to go through Puzzle Rush one time at a good, decent pace. Just me playing through the moves, and then the second time I go over it and play the game, I want to talk to you and go slow about what each checkmate is and what the names of it are, what are the ideas behind it, and to identify what they are. Because many people could watch this and be like, I have no idea what they're doing. Like they're just going making moves, but there's actually a lot of order and structure to it. And I hope to give that kind of transparency to many of these patterns that you might see on outside of chess players, like being crazy smart. But no, we just play a lot of chess and we just know patterns. So let's go ahead and press play again. Just to give reference and context, the highest scores are around like 450-ish. And these are by grandmasters. But if you scroll down here, you also see grandmasters, getting as high as 40. National masters 39, international masters 42. See, some grandmasters go to 39, and that's respectable. It's very hard to do. My highest was 34, and I've just been playing a lot. So I think I got lucky on some of them, but my average is usually around like 23-ish when I try to go too fast and I end up making a mistake. So that's the context. But let's just see what happens. All right, we're going to play. All right. Ooh, let me check. Oh, okay, okay. I was in check that time. Oh, what is this one? Okay, that was a strange one, but I'm gonna redeem myself. Oh man, that was not it? Okay, I got two strikes already. This is actually a little bit embarrassing, but it's okay. Oh, I'm in check. Oh, I keep forgetting. Um, Thank you very much. Ooh, I like this one. You sacrifice your rook. That's a good one. Very good. So you take and then you fork. My queen's hanging, so let's take this first. Takes, takes. Yeah, we gotta take it first, right? Okay. Oh, you take this first. You take here, and if they take, then we play here. Okay, so that wasn't the best example. I only got 18. But if you saw the first minute, like I was on a roll, you know. And let's go through it again. And I'll go a little bit much slower this time. So I'll show you what's going on. So in this position, we're playing white, um, and we can easily see that black has a weakness called back rank checkmate, where the back rank is very weak because nothing's protecting the back rank, which is this last row. And so all we got to do is bring one of our pieces to attack the king, and black has to do something to defend against the king. The king can't run anywhere because all of these squares are filled up, so he has to block. But fortunately, nothing's protecting this block piece. We can capture it, and that is game. And this position is very famous that one of the most common checkmate or the most famous checkmates is called fool's mate. It's when the queen comes to a square on the side that attacks this diagonal towards the king. So in this case, the queen would go to h5, if you can see the notation here. Queen would go to h5, and that would give check to black. And this is very famous because this is one of the weakest diagonals of the king. So there's nothing to actually block it. If you notice that the dark square bishop can't come out and block, the queen can't block, the rook can't block, the king can't move because this bishop is blocking and the queen is blocking the king from running. So this is a fool's mate, actually. Again, we see back rank weakness. This back rank is very weak, and this piece is undefended, so we're going to capture this piece. He's going to try to block it to delay the inevitable, but we actually checkmate him. This one is this one's one of my favorite checkmates because it's called in-your-face checkmate. It's when the queen comes in and checkmates the king, and the king cannot capture the queen back because the rook is protecting or some kind of piece is protecting. It's called in-your-face checkmate because the queen is all up in your face. So the kids love this, and I just go in your face. Very good. Another example is of checkmating is with the knight and the queen. They actually work really well together, especially in the middle of the game. Where they're both attacking one pawn at the same time. So they're both attacking this f2 pawn. So the most direct way is to capture this pawn with your queen. And you also notice the second knight is attacking the... Oh, shoot, I messed up that one. Oh, I shouldn't have clicked it. The queen's supposed to capture the g2 pawn because the knight was also attacking it. I clicked it just because I got excited. But that was the idea behind this. This one, I noticed two pieces are undefended, meaning no one's protecting them. So there's only a piece that can attack two things at once, and luckily there is. There's the rook. And when the rook captures this pawn, it will be on the same row as these two undefended pieces. And when white has to, protect one of them, the rook will capture the other one. And this is what's known in chess as called a fork. And you do forks in so many games that it becomes second nature that you see two undefended pieces and you're just gonna fork them. And this one, the king is just like very unsafe. This rook is doing a good job protecting this row, so this king can't run anywhere. So if the king legally can't run anywhere, If only there was a piece that can attack the king. And in this case, there is. There is the knight. So the knight attacks the king, and that's checkmate. Uh, in this position, I have two pieces attacking this square on g7. So what I'm going to do is capture the square, put the king in check, and then capture it again. And notice this bishop is also attacking it too. I forgot to mention that. And then we capture it again. So there's three attackers on one square. All right, in this position, there's a couple of things going on. One is that I can give a check to the king here. The king will be forced to move, and then my queen can come in and give a checkmate. So this is a very relatively basic two-step combo. So 1, and then checkmate 2. And in this position, look, they have 2 queens here. It's very dangerous. So if I don't do something right away, black's gonna lose. I noticed that black's king has very limited squares to go to. It can't go to h6, can't go to f6, can't go to g5. It literally can't go anywhere because his queen is just dominating this row. So if the king can't go anywhere, if only there was some piece that could attack the white king. And in this case, it is. The queen can come down here and give checkmate to the white king. So that's number 1. The last one is removing the defender, which is very famous. This knight is defending this bishop, so I'm going to remove this knight out to capture this bishop. And those are some of the things we learned. Remove the defender, forks, back rank checkmates, in your face checkmates. Just noticing the king had nowhere to go, so if only there was a piece to attack it. Those are some of the very basic concepts of chess that when you understand them very well, they become so intuitive that you don't even think about any other moves or what the rest of the board is doing. You already see a threat. You know it already works based on your past experiences. And if you see a very forcing line, meaning if a move forces your opponent to do something else, for example, if I check the king has to move. That's a very forcing move versus a random pawn move on the side of the board, which is not that forcing in most cases. When you see a forcing move, you can already eliminate all the other moves if that forcing move leads to a good outcome. So that was this video that separates the great chess players from average chess players. It's just I'm able to see patterns, and my chess coach actually talks about how many of the grandmasters, international masters, they studied so many games, and all these different games that they studied, all of them have very rich ideas and nuances to come from it. So when they play their own games, they can actually think back to all of their toolkit of all the games that they ever saw, ever played personally. And through experience, they can say, oh, in this game in like 1972, Bobby Fischer did this against this opponent in this world championship. And because of that idea, I want to use it in this game because it applies in this position. And you're like, what? 1972? Like, what is that? Oh yeah, Lasker was doing this, or like, do you ever heard of Steinitz and his play, or Mikhail Tal and how he attacks so beautifully? And if you're an average player, you're like, you don't know any of these players, right? You just play chess and you just have fun and do your thing. But when you get better and better, you study the legends, you study how they move their pieces, and you study how they came up with ideas that translate a lot to modern day chess, and it impacts a lot of what we do today. So that's my video, Puzzle Rush. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to play it yourself. It's very fun, very addictive, so be careful about playing this. I probably play this for an hour each day, just not even thinking about the time. I'm just like, I want to beat my high score. I want to beat my high score. And I can never beat my high score because it's very hard to keep going unless you actually train to play this game. So hope you learned something about chess players, and I hope you kind of battle this misconception that chess players can calculate 20 moves, but in reality, it's all about recognizing patterns. So thanks so much for watching. If you want, subscribe to Chess Transparency. We make videos about our journeys, myself and Lewis, to become chess masters, which we're constantly working, and we want to show the behind the scenes of what that actually looks like. So subscribe below, check out our other videos, and hope you have a good rest of your day.